Okay. Alrighty. So, hi, my name is Alice, and many of you already know me. Okay. I'm a Santa Clara County resident, living in Santa Clara County for close to 30 years. And together with a few of my like-minded friends, who many of them are in the audience right now, we've been looking closely at various aspects of Santa Clara County election ballot processing since 2021. And first of all, I want to thank all for coming to this room meeting tonight, because while the reason for today's meeting is to address the issue of Santa Clara County that's actively being turned into ranked choice voting county without current residents' knowledge nor concern, I hope people from other counties will gain the necessary knowledge from what I share today, so you can be on the lookout in your own county and in your own city for similar thing happening, so you can actively doing something about it before it's too late. Okay, so I wanted you to take a look on this page. So let me zoom into the first one. Okay, so let's see this. Oops, sorry, let me slice back. Okay, so this is the charter. This is the current Santa Clara charter. Okay, and let me read it. So for section 208, it says, nothing in this charter shall preclude the Board of Supervisors from authorizing an instant runoff voting system for the November general election, which eliminates the need for runoff election when such technology is available to the county. So this is what it said in the current Santa Clara County charter right now. And notice the word, when such technology is available to the county. That means when they put this together, the technology was not even available. Okay, so so how did section 208 amendment come about? Okay, so you can see on this side, it's because of in 1998 there is a bunch of ranked choice voting, or AKA instant runoff advocates, put a measure up for vote, and it's called Measure F. Okay, and that it turned out that Measure F passed. People vote for it, and it turned out they didn't really wasn't even clear what it was about, and there were no technology to even tabulate it. It just sounded like a good idea at the time. So that's how we got to here. Okay, so in 2023, and just to pressure Santa Clara County into switch over to ranked choice voting quicker, State Assemblyman Evan Lowe submitted a bill called AB 1227. You can see that at the bottom. Okay, let me try to get this on. See if I can have my laser printer right here. AB 1227. Okay, and got it passed. And this bill specifically calling out Santa Clara County, and it claims the Santa Clara County resident really want it as evidence of passing 1998 Measure F. Okay, so that's how it came about. So to be frank, I didn't even know that there could be a state bill that only target one county out of 58 counties in the state. But that's what happened. Okay, in case you didn't know, if they succeed, Santa Clara County will be the very first county in California to be using ranked choice voting. In the past, the ranked choice voting operative were mainly focusing on trying to flip city by city first. For those that are close to your own city government, you're probably aware of many ranked choice voting lobbyists that are working very closely with your city council or your board of supervisors. So it is clear that Santa Clara County is their first county test case. If they succeed in one county, you know they will just cookie cut it and move on to flipping other county within California. So this is what's moving forward. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a context so you understand what we're talking about. So, and who is actually pushing for ranked choice voting? We did some research, and this is just some organization that you know locally that it's overly or covertly pushing ranked choice voting. There are a lot more. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Fair Vote, and there's CalRCV, CFER, that's Steve Chessen's organization, and there's a whole bunch more. And a lot of time they have pop-up organization that will show up and then they would disappear. Okay, and this is only a fraction of many more organizations that I discovered. Okay, and some of the organization even disguise themselves as local homeowners association in a term to normalize the topic of ranked choice voting within a community. So I just want you guys to be aware of it. Okay, and on this slide, I just want to show you who is funding one of the organization. Let's say Fair Vote. Okay, and you can see. Let me see. Fair Vote. Let me see if I can zoom in this a little bit. This is their financial statement. So you can see that they're funded by Healer Foundation, Arnold Venture, United American Institute, and probably other. This is just a 2021 and 2022 financial statement, and this is their 990. So you know that they're very well funded. Okay, and if you go to those foundations' website, you will find these are all giant globalist foundations. And then if you go to other organizations like Indivisible and Represent Us's website, you will find out even more who is funding ranked choice voting. It will be the Murdochs, the Bezos, and also you know that the Hollywood type people like Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Douglas, Jack Black, all the A-list actors and actresses are their mouthpiece that create promotional video for them. And so while the local ranked choice voting operative are passionately selling you an ideal version of how our election should be fundamentally changed, I just want you to be aware that there are big dollar behind this, and it's really all business. Okay, so that's kind of what I think most people are not aware of when they're talking to these agencies. Now, the main purpose of this meeting is to show people some of the under the hood stuff that ranked choice voting that most people don't know about. Now I will show you some of the major red flags with ranked choice voting regarding how they count or decide not to count your vote. This is something the ranked choice voting lobbyists really don't want you to know. I will demonstrate to you scenario that actually happened in Oakland election on Oakland ballots. When I'm going through it, okay, I invite you to think about how would you vote this kind of ballot if it is in front of you? How much time will you seriously need to research and actually vote intelligently with it? What desired outcome you think you will get out of changing to this system? And how do you verify that your vote were counted as you intended? Okay, so let's go here. So this is red flag number 1, okay? That you better rank or else you lose your vote. Okay, unlike the one that, you know, in the past you can just vote who you like. This is the ballot of Oakland mayor race in 2022. There are 10 candidates on this ballot, and the instruction said to rank 5. So you can only allow to pick 5, right? Right off the bat, you know that if you somehow you miss ranking the right 5, your ballot will be it's tossed out for sure. That's it, right? So by the way, you want to know nowadays, you know, I mean, we all see a lot of ballot. It's very typical nowadays to have this many candidates in one contest. And this is just one of the contests among many contests that you will need to rank on your ballot. In Santa Clara County, okay, that well, we're guessing at least district attorney, sheriff, board of supervisor, maybe even your water board. I don't know what else. Okay, if they decide to just use it for Santa Clara County. Okay, the first problem I see is that instead of the ability to just pick my favorite candidate in each contest, now I am obligated to rank multiple candidates. Okay, can you imagine the amount of time you will need to research and vote intelligently, looking at multiple contests that look like this? Okay, so people are gonna say, oh, I don't have to rank all of it. Well, let's see what happens if you don't rank them all. Okay, so what if you don't want to rank them all? Okay, and this is an example of, let's say, like a lot of elder people, they are more used to the older model. So they just want to vote for one person, so they just gonna vote for one person and leave everybody else empty. What would happen to his ballot? The short answer is that, yeah, you can do this, but you risk your vote not being counted. If you just vote for one person, the chances are your vote will be thrown out prematurely, even if the person that you voted for got most of the vote in the first round. Why? Because if your candidate did not get over 50% in the first round, the other candidate get to keep accumulating additional votes from people who rank them lower, even as their last choice, to overtake the first round winners. This is what happened to the 2022 first round Oakland mayor election winner. And that's Lauren Taylor, by the way. Okay, he was winning every round until the 8th round. All of a sudden it flipped. Okay, and that's what happened. Now let's see, what if you mark your 2 favorite candidate as number 1 and did not care for any of the other candidate? Because you know the reality is that when you see a ballot like this, people can interpret so many different ways of how you're supposed to vote. Okay, and that's what was discovered in Oakland, and they see all kind of different kind of ballot selection. Okay, so every example that we presented are came from the actual case in Oakland election. So okay, so if you vote like this, right, where you say, oh, I don't know which one, I like them both, so I'll just put them as first choice and let other people decide. You think the system is going to figure out. If you vote like this, your ballot is completely thrown out or exhausted, because the ranked choice voting algorithm is not going to be able to read your mind as to who you prefer to be number 1, and they really need to have a number 1 and a number 2 and a number 3 and a number 4. So if you think voting this way ensure a runoff between these 2 candidates, it doesn't. All right. So you don't want to vote that way either. So now this is a very common case. What if you are really excited about one candidate and decide to mark that person on all 5? And this is very common, especially typically some of the real excited voters, they actually actively campaign for just one candidate, right? So they want their candidate to win. They don't really want to vote for anybody else. But how do you do that? You know, I'm going to show in ranked choice vote, there's no way you can do that, right? Because this is what a lot of people desire to do. They're gonna rank that same person 5 times, thinking, oh, I am voting him 5 times, let's say. Okay, yeah. So, but because ranked choice voting algorithm does not correctly account for this, instead of counting your ballot and include your favorite candidate in each round, your entire ballot is disallowed and thrown out. So yes, also you cannot vote that way. Okay. So this is another scenario that people find. And by the way, this all came courtesy of my friend who unfortunately couldn't be here. He is an active election observer in Oakland and Alameda County election integrity team. And he's the one that provided me this information. And in fact, his mom still lives in Oakland. And I think she is over 80 years old. She was so discouraged that she told Mark that she didn't want to vote anymore. All right. So this is another thing that people would do. What if you choose to mark your favorite candidate as #1 and your least favorite candidate as #5? You thought that that would kind of make sure your #5 person doesn't get in, right? Well, not exactly. Okay. If your #1 candidate is eliminated before round 5, and that your least favorite candidate is not eliminated, then congratulations. You just help your least favorite candidate to move ahead into the next round, because your vote would actually get added to his or her vote.
I have questions. You want to defer it to the end?
Yes, I will come back to it. So let me, yeah, I appreciate it if you let me finish through all the scenario. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. And then so you will start seeing that you this is the real ballot, right? You will start seeing that enough misunderstanding like this can cause your least favorite candidate to actually win. Isn't that amazing? Okay. So red flag #2, wrong settings and confusing ballot leads to error in calculation. Okay, mistake #1, that some of the people did not rank the first choice, just like this ballot. Okay. Yeah, you can see this. And this is Oakland, California's 2022 school district school director district 4 race. The ranked choice voting algorithm was incorrectly configured to suspend the ballot that didn't rank the #1 first choice, instead of giving credit to the voter's first voted choice. Okay, because they suspended it instead of just ignore this first choice and take their second choice as if that's the person's first choice. There are 235 ballots being suspended this way and not including in the vote total. And because of that, okay, Mike Hutchinson, the actual winner, was erroneously eliminated in the first round. Okay, that's what happened to this race. And they were a huge hoopla about this, okay? And Mike Hutchinson and the other candidate who were erroneously declared the winner by the register of voter ended up had to hire their own attorney to demand a recount to challenge and overturn the result. So what I want to ask is that how many candidates do you think would have the money to hire a lawyer to fight to make it right? Or are they going to just accept the wrong result? And even worse, in this case, well, their naming nomenclature is a little slightly different. If this is equating to our school board, they don't even get paid. Okay, so this is the issue. But bear in mind, though, okay, and one other point that's kind of important is to understand is that bear in mind, recount and ranked choice voting scenario is no picnic. It's like they need to recount and recalculate number of election equal to number of round all at once. What a mess. And their registered voter admitted that they cannot do that, because for people with 10, 20, go through over 10 rounds, okay, that's impossible, right? And the worst part is that, because and that's kind of what I was alluding to. The worst part is that there is no way to easily catch this kind of error, because ranked choice voting is not hand recountable, for the reason of you cannot count all 8 elections. It's like you're counting 8 different elections at the same time. This error was caught only because an independent organization happened to run a simulation of this contest and discovered that some ballots were incorrectly suspended. Okay, so my question again is that as a voter forced to use ranked choice voting, how will you know if your ballot and precious vote is suspended or not? Right? So, I mean, do you see there's a bit of a problem here? Yeah. So, moving forward, mistake number 2. Okay, this is Oakland's November 2023 school district 5 election ballot. You can see it right here. Okay, so it only has 2 candidates on this contest, but the instruction tell the voter to mark 5 ranks for every contest. This caused a lot of voter confusion and incorrectly marked ballot, resulting in multiple ballots being discarded or thrown out, and their vote not being included in the final result. And the sad part is that most of them don't even know that their vote wasn't counted, right? Yeah. So it is disturbing to see that ranked choice voting has created more chaos in simplest of election with just a few candidates compared to standard runoff type of election. And red flag number 3 is that because for those people who have hear pitches from the ranked choice voting advocate and all that, they all claim that the candidates won by greater than 50% of majority. But the reality, that's not what's so. Okay, that's back to that mayor's race, 2022. Again, that ballot. Okay, that Lorraine Taylor won in every round until round 8, as I said, and ended up losing by only 677 votes. Okay, and Chantal was declared the winner, claiming that she won was 50.3% of the vote. But in reality, was almost 20,000 ballots thrown out because they weren't transferable into subsequent rounds, or they ran out of the rank, like, right, 5, they can only rank 5. The real data result, including all voters who voted, showed that Chantal actually only received 45.75% of the vote. So how is this a clear majority again, right? With the top 2 going to general election, those voters who had their ballot tossed out early instead will have a real opportunity to compare side by side and decide whether they really want Chantal or Lorraine Taylor, but they didn't even get that chance. And so the Oakland mayor's deceptive majority claim is not unique. Okay, and some of you might have watched our animation video before. If not, there's this QR code. This QR code will direct you there to see that. Okay, to get more detail on how this happened with ranked choice voting in different cities and states where ranked choice voting is implemented. And one of the proponents selling claim that, if you guys heard the pitch, is that ranked choice voting would promote coalition buildings. In reality, if you look in under the hood, the reality is that candidates are colluding to gaming the system by putting in as many people on the ballot as they can. These people are not on the ballot to win. They're just aiming to pull the most popular candidate below 50% in the first round. This is their goal. Once they achieve that, game on. Algorithm and setting will determine who wins. Okay, and I will show you the setting, and then you will kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay. So red flag number 4. There's 276,480 different ways to count your vote, which lead to different winners. And we got this this is actually from the current voting system they're using, and the setting page is part of Santa Clara County Citizens Advisory Commission on Election case, May 8th, 2023 agenda packet. So everybody can find this. Okay. So so I want to get back here. I don't know if you guys remember in red flag 2, remember I mentioned about a setting error that caused the wrong candidate to be declared a winner. I think that was district number 4, school director, district number 4. And that happened I believe that happened because they set the wrong previous round evaluation method. So the key part is that you can see this. Do you know that there are 14 different built-in programmable settings in current ranked choice voting system? Just like your washing machine, depending on which combination of switches you use, it can potentially produce different outcomes. For example, I want to highlight one of them. That's called fixed precision decimal setting. Let me see. Let me try to get the laser right here. Okay. So in this setting, the system literally can be set to count your one vote as just a fraction of one vote instead. What does that mean? Depending on what number they enter in this field, your vote can be counted as a fraction of one vote instead of one full vote. And they actually have, you can see 10 digits, right? 0 to 9 precision. Okay. I mean, my question is that, are you okay with that? But I'm sure, they're going to tell you, nah, we're not using that setting. But how do you know? Okay, in the past few years, since 2021, a few of us, who some of them are in the audience right now, and you can definitely ask them, who really care about election transparency, have asked our ROV to give us observation access when they are setting up the tabulation sensitivity setting, adjudication setting, and other setting before an election. And guess what? They fought us and they consistently refused us. So we never got to even see how they're set. Okay, all of setting would impact how the vote is counted. And now this is 14 more settings. And the question to ask is, why would you want any voting system to have a 9 decimal point precision way to calculate how much of your vote is really counted? These settings can all be easily changed, and even in the mainstream of tabulating ballots, right? And I'm sure many of people in this audience are from high tech, in software. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, how easily these settings can be changed, right? Yeah. Also, depending on how the previous round, going back to that previous round evaluation method setting is set, it could change how your vote is counted from round to round, which may decide whether your vote is counted or discarded completely. So a quick cleanse will tell you that once you accept switching to ranked choice voting, the voters completely lose control of how their vote are counted. And so one of the key reasons that we want to bring this urgent message to your attention is because the ranked choice voting operatives have been working hard in California for over 20 years to flip city by city, county by county, to fundamentally change how we vote. In 2024, this is what happened to Richmond, California. So the ranked choice voting paid by lobbyists fair vote convinced the city council of Richmond that ranked choice voting would save money. So Measure L was put on the ballot. It gained over 50% of citizens vote. But the poll have proved that the citizens who vote for it didn't fully understand what they were voting for. Yet the simplistic vote for your favorite ice cream flavor marketing pitch, which some of you might have heard before, convinced enough voters to vote yes. Okay, and they got 54.39% of votes. So at that time, when I first heard that, I thought, oh, okay, Richmond split. They're gonna have to use ranked choice voting from now on. But thankfully, it just happened that on that same ballot, a group of informed Richmond citizens led by the president of the local plumber association. His name is Don Gosney. I invited him here, but he's probably busy, couldn't show up. Put on the ballot a competing Measure J, advocating for standard top 2 runoff election. So Richmond was Richmond is like Sunnyvale. Okay, they did not have top 2 runoff election. They just have one election. Whoever got the top vote, even though it could be way less than 50%, he or she still wins. Okay, that was their old system, and they didn't like that. They found a lot of problem with it. That's why they want to go with the top 2 primary and general election. And this group put up their own money. It took them over a year and a half of planning and signature gathering to change their election process to ensure only candidates who actually got over 50% wins. So fortunately, Measure J ended up with more votes than Measure L. So as you can see, it's 58.12%. So for this reason, that Measure J ended up saving Richmond, California, from going to ranked choice voting. So Richmond residents are lucky that their election process was safe, right? Richmond is a cautionary tale to voters of all city and county. People must get all the facts straight and not be fooled by so-called success stories. And so up to now, I think all these groups would still tell you that Oakland is a success story. The voter must be vigilant to safeguard their vote by not being manipulated into changing tried and true election process to something like ranked choice voting without fully understand how it really works. So they don't end up with a mediocre mayors like Chantal in Oakland, who was not most people's favorite. And I have done some interview up there and talked to the people there. And this person who later was actually found even to be a criminal. She's indicted, federally indicted, I believe. The sad truth is, Don told me that the city council of Richmond already planning to put up ranked choice voting measure again in the next election. For them, it costs them very little money, if any, to do so. Not like when our citizen had to do it. This is what they do. Same thing happened, in Sunnyvale, and there are quite a few Sunnyvale people here. You can correct me if I misspoke on this. The city council removed the ranked choice voting from their charter in 2022. But now I'm hearing that lobbyists are lobbying the new city councils to put it back on, right? It's like it will never end until the citizen of each county and city being well educated on this topic and stay vigilant. If you care about your voice through your vote, please don't take this lightly. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna open up for Q&A here. And we can go back to any of the slides that you have question on. So And that's it, right? And by the way, these are my contact. You can see, I have recorded, before we start that, I have recorded many video interviewing Oakland residents. You can find it in 1millionauditor.org. That will point you to the YouTube channel that I have them. And then the subsection RCV, it has all kind of detailed information and analysis and data and the charter on there if you want to review it yourself, right? And then these two are the YouTube channel and the Rumble channel that I keep whatever information that we gather as well. Okay, go ahead. Any questions?
Well, I'd like to introduce Edward. Edward, do you want to open your mic? He's in Oakland, and he understand. Oh yeah, he's open mic. I'll let you talk.
Sure. Hi, Edward. Where are you?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, Edward Escobar. Hi.
Hey. Yeah, Sunny had invited me last minute to join this Zoom call. So
Okay.
yeah, hey, we had a great victory last night. The State Attorney General Rob Bonta was attempting to install his puppet candidate, Venus Johnson, who
Wow.
was going to be a carbon copy of Pamela Price, maybe more sophisticated, better communicator, so on and so forth, presented probably much better than Pam Price as well. But
Yeah.
same policies, same exact policies, the same verbiage was being spewed forth in the talking points. So it was going to be a repetition, basically, so a continued social experiment on the
Right.
population and creating more suffering, more human suffering, more victimization, of making it matters worse for victims of crime and their families. So we had a great victory. We sent a powerful message to the Board of Supervisors, Alameda County. I organized a rally protest action right an hour before the session started. And many of our people spoke in person and via Zoom, and let the Board of Supervisors know that they were being watched and they will be held accountable. I said to them, as a matter of fact, 3 times, you will be held accountable, you will be held accountable, you will be held accountable if you make a bad choice and do not represent the rights of the people. And they are supposed to be the voices on behalf, representative democracy, right? On behalf of the people. And yet they play the politics, and we get very mad and disgusted by this, and they think they're untouchable. Well, as a leader of the recalls that remove Pam Price and Mayor Sheng Tao, I remind them constantly that anyone can and will be recalled who is not working on behalf of the people. And do not allow politics to be prioritized over people. And we let them know that we are railing hard against outside special interests, meaning the union leadership. Want to make it clear that we do support workers' rights and unions, but we have to separate between union leadership who have national agendas and ulterior motives and hidden agendas, right, compared to the rank and file. Also, a lot of nonprofits that have lost their way, that are working to promote high-end salaries for their administrators. And there's a lot of people that work in nonprofits that really care to do great and good things for the people, but they are misled and taken advantage of. And then there's also these ideologue philanthropists that are out there who spend millions of dollars to sway the votes in one direction or another. And getting back to ranked choice voting, ranked choice voting is basically rigged choice voting. It's not one person, one vote. And if you look at it, it's not in Oakland, it's not truly ranked choice voting. You could have 10 candidates and they only let you select 5 maximum candidates of the 10. So it's not even truly ranked choice voting. They're cheating people from voting from 1 through 10 for all the people. And so it's truly a bait and switch. It's fraud is really what it is. And it allows the registrar of voters, Tim Dupuy, and in other counties that are doing this as well, for them to play some shady games behind the scenes. We have no way of verifying this and confirming. So, and it makes it more complicated, to be honest, because we speak with a lot of people. People of color are disenfranchised. They're disenfranchised because it makes it more confusing for them. And I spoke at the election commission, and I pointed my finger and I put them on notice that this is not going to be tolerated. They're disenfranchising disproportionately people of color, and it's not acceptable what they're doing. And people have complained, and they're not listening to them. So if they don't listen to us, then we can remove them. So we've already proven it, and they know our strength. So right now we're moving against the registrar of voters, Tim Dupuy, for Alameda County. And we'd like to have any folks, I'll put my information in the chat, and please contact us, because we have a change.org petition that we've signed and created, and we'd like to have your participation. We're putting together rallies and protest actions and exponentially pushing it out to hundreds of thousands of people by using the media. We get the major broadcast outlets, and they give us the coverage because they know we do great work on behalf of the people, because this is principled, it's focused, it's for the people. This is common sense, and this is about protecting and preserving what we have in terms of public safety and fair and balanced and just across the board. So we encourage everyone to participate. And let me tell you, just by showing up at one of our actions, just by sending, if we put out a flyer, we put out information, join one of our groups, you listen and share the information, that is doing a great deal. A little bit of something from everyone makes a huge difference. Look what we've been able to accomplish historically. Recalls like this have never happened in Oakland. First time for the mayor, first time for the DA. Historically, 2 of them in one election cycle. Amazing. And so people, they're really jazzed and excited about the potential. This is real democracy in action. This is what democracy looks like when the people take the power back in their hands. So you could do it. We could do it. We stand together, even showing up at a rally. You don't have to speak. You can stand there, hold a sign. Just be there, because the media, the more people show up, because our opposition, they always count the numbers of how many people show up. And a lot of our actions sometimes are done short notice. But when you folks show up and they see the numbers of people and they see every different face that's there, we need diversity, people from all backgrounds and cultures. And we have the media, we have the Asian media, TV 26, they love to cover us. Epoch Times as well, the Asian World Journal. So we make it as diverse. Univision, Telemundo. I just did an interview this morning with Marcos Gutierrez on 1010, Hecho en California, made in California, a bilingual program that they do on the radio, on AM radio. Major audience coverage there. So we're trying to reach all cultures, all backgrounds. This is a people's movement, and we need to move the movement together. I know I've gotten a little long-winded, but I'm sorry, I get so passionate, excited about it when we see results. And just so that you know, to be there and see the faces of the victims of crime and their family. It was so touching and moving, and they were so grateful that finally their voices are heard. Finally, they could take charge and take control of the future for the prosecution of criminals, and so that we could do it in a fair, just, and balanced manner that really involves common sense. So and that's sustainable, very important. So RCV definitely has to go with Oakland. We want to try to get the council candidate for District 2. Then we'd have majority of the council. And what can happen at that point is we can eliminate RCV. Listen, on paper, sounds wonderful. In practice, fails miserably. All right, I'll pass it back to you, because I know I talk quite a bit.
No,
there you
great.
go.
Thank you, Edward. I mean, he is the man, okay? He's the one that's instrumental in setting up all the rallies, okay, and making it happen to recall Chantal, to recall Pamela Price, you know. And I've been to one of his rallies, and he's so passionate, and I'm on his list. And
Well,
and
I mean,
so
honestly,
appreciate you of
this,
you showing up
this is
to
team effort. This is really team effort. So thank you for saying these nice things about me, but really it's not about me. It's about the movement. And all
yes.
of you matter. Every little thing from every person makes a huge difference. So everyone matters. Okay.
Yes,
So thank
yes.
you, though.
It's once it become a ranked choice city, ranked choice voting city or county, it's exponentially harder to take them out. I mean, as Edward might be able to attest to that, because they were an effort that tried to take them out,
Yeah.
right?
If what happens is they basically divide and conquer the electorate. Those folks that are voting, because what happens is the special interests. And when I say special interests, I'm throwing all the union leadership, right? Leaving out the rank and file because they know not what the union leadership are up to many times.
Right.
Also the nonprofits, all right, and also the philanthropists. They're throwing resources, and people think it's just about money. No, it's not. It's about the ground game that they're able to affect and roll out. And that means door knocking and phone banking. And then, of
Right.
course, they use the sphere of influence of all their members, that they go out there and they tell two friends and their families and their friends. And so exponentially, they're able to touch more people. And, you know, these are hard touches that they're making many times over. So what they're able to do with the ranked choice voting is, like you had mentioned earlier at the beginning, is they really oversaturate when it comes to the candidates there, and then the ranked choice voting, then it tsunamis upwards, right? You know how people, they say trickle down, the opposite, it tsunamis upwards to their chosen candidate.
Right.
And that's, if you want to look at the Oakland election, the at large, Rowena Brown. Nobody had known about Rowena except people that are involved in politics. Well, she was part of Mia Bonta, Assemblywoman Mia Bonta's team, who's California State Attorney General Rob Bonta's wife,
Right.
who took his place when he vacated it and went to California State Attorney General. And Rob Bonta, of course, has designs to be the next governor.
Right.
But Kamala Harris probably might block that. But anyhow, getting back to the other thing, it's the power of the machine, the political machine that they've set up. It's not one person, one vote anymore. And
Right.
there's so many different ways that they could disqualify you, because if you could only vote to a max of like 5 candidates and you vote for more, then they call it an overvote. They have overvote, undervote, exhausted vote. This all kinds of ways that they could disenfranchise you with this RCV system. And we've seen the way that they handle things. Our people have been sitting there. There's no transparency. There's lack of transparency in this whole process. That's why we were the first ones to push hard against Registrar of Voters Tim Dupuy for Alameda County. And we're demanding that the Board of Supervisors, the BOS, they fire him. He was hired as head of IT manager, and then he went over and then became the Registrar of Voters as well. And the guy makes about $500,000, and he's doing 2 jobs, and he does this one very poorly. So these are things that you think that it's just one element. It's all connected. If you don't take care of one piece of business on behalf of the population, of the people, then it bleeds into another area, it bleeds into another area, and so on and so forth. So it is so important. People, they take advantage that a lot of voters are low to no information voters. And so we have to stand up to these folks and say, no, we're not going to allow you to try to pull the hood over our eyes, over our heads, and trick us, because we're on to you. We see what you're doing. And once again, the concept of RCV, it sounds wonderful, really does, but it's a bait and switch. What they say it does, and you have to look at the people that have a vested interest in promoting this. It's monetary gain, it's profit. They're putting profits before people. So
Right.
you have to really step back and look at the big picture. I want to clarify too, so everyone knows, I'm nonpartisan. All right, I organize with both sides, from Republican extreme to extreme left, socialist, communist. I as long as it's common sense and we're doing something great together, you know what, stick to our talking points, we're good. A lot of our stuff is about public safety, but there's a lot more involved as well beyond that. But you have to take care of public safety, otherwise you can't have businesses, you can't have residents, you can't have anything else without peace and tranquility in your community. So yes, it seems like there's a lot, but actually if we eliminate RCV, and you have to attack it before it gets deeply entrenched. Once it's deeply entrenched, to do a recall like in Alameda County, it cost us, geez, like, because we went over and above. Alameda County has approximately about 460,000 voters, roughly. And so we had to come up with a minimum of verified, validated, qualified registered voter signatures of about almost 73,000 needed, right?
Right.
And we collect 123,800 and some change, almost close to 124,000 votes. So, and of that, many of them were invalidated. Why? Because on that form, there was a box that said your employment, and if you left it blank, your signature was disqualified. That's how simple they disenfranchise people. So we lost a lot of petition signatures that dropped it down, that we only surpassed the minimum amount by 1,800 votes. Imagine that.
Wow.
So we're looking at almost 124,000 signatures from registered voters that we got, and it got pared down to like about 175,000. I mean, I'm sorry, 75,000 from that. You're like almost half that got invalidated because of the ROV. So
Right.
you have to keep in mind, these folks are very sophisticated and tricky in the way that they play these games. Why the deception? Why? You have to ask yourself that. So it's not about, it's about disenfranchising the people. They say vote, but then they don't want you to have these kinds of discussions about elections and the procedures. They don't want you to have discussions about the candidates and who's best qualified. They say two things don't talk about: religion and politics. Why? Why? Because they don't want us to be informed about what's going on, right? When we look at a small handful of people that we made both of these recalls happen, right? So there's the power in the movement of people coming together. United we stand, we make a difference. We already have, and we continue to. So that's why we invite your participation.
So first of all, just so you know, this impacts both Democrat and Republicans. Okay, so this is a very nonpartisan topic. And with that said, us, we're coming from a grassroots perspective. Me, more like I'm like Edward, right? You know, whatever we do, we're doing it for everyone. We're not, really partisan in such sense. And we don't want to make this as a partisan topic either, because it impacts everyone. I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, Green Party, or Independent, right?
That sounds.
Mark, if you want to say a few words, thank you for showing up. I know you were not available.
Yeah, I'm here. I just got in. Sorry I'm late, but I just drove into town. I say hi to everybody. My name is Mark Zulum. I'm with Alameda County. I live in Alameda County, and I'm a ranked choice voting expert. And I've been working on this since 2020, actually, and even recently. So I'm a partner with Alice for making videos, and we've done a great job of that. So I'm sorry I'm late. I assume you showed them our videos, Alice. Is that correct?
Yes, I gone through the slideshow that we put together, you know, and thank you for, you know, able to provide the real ballot and real scenario with Oakland. I think this is more real for people.
Okay.
Because
So
without looking at that, it's easy to imagine the ice cream situation, you know, which is not real. Yeah, right?
right,
Okay.
right. So there's other videos that we have created as well as the Heritage Foundation. The Republican Party of Utah is an excellent source as well. So is there anything else I missed? Again, sorry, I just got back into town. Is there anything else I missed, Alice?
No, I think we're in a good discussion, you know, right now. And thank you, Edward's here.
Edward Escobar,
Edward
yeah.
Escobar was here.
Mhm.
Thank you. It was really grateful. So that give the audience even more context on what we're doing here, right? And we are all working together. We're trying to help Oakland. We want to help Santa Clara County at the same time.
You know, one of the errors or problems with ranked choice voting is each round is a election unto itself, and so when you only allow the voters to vote for 5 of 10 candidates, for example, the Oakland mayor's race that's coming up very quickly here in April, there's 10 candidates, but the ROV in Alameda County has already said we're only going to let you mark 5 because the city of Oakland told us 5. Well, they're playing dumb or stupid, and that's a huge mistake in my opinion, also mathematically and also constitutionally. So
to me, I mean, you can kind of see, and that's kind of what I'm hearing too. You will start hearing its variation depending on kind of like a mess, right? City
Yeah.
can tell the ROV what to do, and then different city can choose different methods, and then, you know, county, who knows what county is doing, you know what I'm saying? So it's a hot mess. It's not standard, and that's the biggest problem because it's so programmable. That means it's the equal to programmable, meaning manipulable, right? And if there's no and there's so much variation, how can voter keep track of all that? Not to mention they can't even figure out. There's no way right now they can sort of figure out who won. With ranked choice voting, there's no way they can figure out who won other than a black box come out and say, oh, this person won.
Other agenda items that they push part of their platform, and it's all replicating what the messaging is from the top down.
Yeah.
And because it's all about control. With RCV, they can control the outcome of the elections, and they put their operatives, once again, special interests, organized labor, the unions, right, their leadership, and the nonprofits, and then the ideologue philanthropists. So those are the primary elements that they use for boots on the ground to get it done, and in conjunction with the RCV technique. And they found that to be very successful. That's why they've been able to install these dysfunctional folks that otherwise would not have won. They would not have won had it not been for the RCV game that they play. So if it works, then what do? Rinse and repeat and keep doing
it. Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's my concern, right?
Yeah, Alameda County, and that's how it is. And so bottom line is the American people, we need to unite together, find solutions that are sustainable and move forward together. Let's not be divided and conquered by these hidden hands that exist in the shadows, because that's what they really are. Very nefarious, ulterior motives and hidden agendas. A lot of it is profit motive, but there's also the power, influence, right? And so keep that in mind. It's not always as you think it is. There's always a hidden agenda that's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, and that's why I think as a citizen, we need to band together, right? That's re-emphasized because we don't know what the top of Democrat party is directing the bottom to do, right? Democrat or Republican, we don't know, right? But all we know for our own vote, we better be conscious and protecting our own vote. But then for us, yes, when you're talking about proportional ranked choice voting, we also know a lot about, and Mark can probably even talk about it, right? That it's a variation, but the issue is that every time when we dig into it deeper, we found out that it's just more or less, yeah, slight variation, but it's actually the same thing, okay? And that they just change name. And that's why they went from instant runoff to ranked choice voting. Now they call alternative voting. And then they have many names. Mark, do you want to add any comment on that?
Yes, Alice, yes, it's really basically the same thing. There
Yeah.
might be some minor differences, but in the end, ranked choice voting is extremely complex. It's not transparent. And unless ranked choice voting is not going to solve your problems with your elections, it, like you heard Edward Escobar say, they are using it to manipulate your elections. You're just kicking the can down the road. You're actually giving in to a corrupt process. It cannot be fixed. Even if you were able to inspect the software and do a test, a pre-test, it still would maybe that election might be the very best. You're still going to have your citizens making numerous errors. The error rate for ranked choice voting far exceeds regular elections. Overvotes are always more in a ranked choice voting election than a common, vote for no more than 3 when you have 5 candidates, for example. It does happen. People vote for 4 when they're supposed to only vote for 3. That ballot gets thrown out. That's a overvote. That's true. But with ranked choice voting, the error rate is way up. And I don't care how much you educate your citizens or you watch the ROV, it can still be manipulated. It still could be gamed. And that's what we don't want that. We don't deserve a system like that. And that's why the top 2, I believe, is superior to ranked choice voting. And yes, in California, you might argue and say, well, we're still getting poor candidates. Well, that's that might be true, but still a top 2 moving on to a general is superior than ranked choice voting. So we have to go into this intelligently, ask intelligent questions, smile, but they should not be allowed to implement ranked choice voting. It has to be stopped. Even if they come in and they change the name or they promise they will allow inspections beforehand, I guarantee you it's going to be full of errors and have all kinds of problems, and it will be manipulated eventually.
Wait, okay, so Mark, so I want to leave it at that. This meeting is not about having to convince people one way or the other. It's really not what this is about. It's really to show you a actual example of what could happen. Okay, so that when you walk into the meeting tomorrow, I hope that you would take all these questions into consideration and ask them that question and see how they would answer. Right? Because these are real life problems that we presented to you, to real voters. And to think that will not happen to Sunnyvale or any other county that is city or county that's considered doing it would be, to me, that would be not a very practical belief system, right? So I would invite you to kind of, ask them, what happened if people vote this way? What happened if people vote this way? What are you doing? How do elderly, because this was, I mean, I have to see it for firsthand how difficult it is for the elderlies. And is that a fair system to anyone to think that elderly or actually I don't want to say it's not the right term, less educated, or people, people that does not have a master in math degree or something, or people that doesn't have master degree in math. whether they will be comfortable with that and that they're able to maneuver through a complicated ballot system, which we already have 4 or 5 pages already. You can expect this to be even much bigger.
Alice, if I could make a comment here, Edward Escobar. Look, the whole idea is for them to disenfranchise folks from voting. Any extra layer of complication right there in and of itself already disenfranchises folks. It's just, as it is difficult to get people to vote. And you
Right.
have a lot of low to no information voters. So there you have it. And for those that still question whether it's a viable option as a tool, this is supposed to be a tool to facilitate the voting process, not complicate it. And we've already been down that road numerous times. The only way that, and the other aspect of it, how they game the system, is they run a ranked choice voting slate team with all the candidates that are favorable. They already have a predetermined candidate who they want and they think should win. And then they load the slate with
Right.
other candidates, and then their votes then break up and divide the electorate, so that way their votes will float upwards to their chosen candidate. And many independent candidates, individuals, they're thinking old school. Oh, I'm running my campaign and it's just about me. And they don't know how to game the RCV slate team approach so that they could possibly win. So then who ends up winning in the end of the day? Special interests. That's just how
Yep.
it is.
Yep.
It's not it's supposed to be a tool. So, where people say, well, just give it a chance. Well, give it a you know how many times we've heard that from Mayor Shangtao in Oakland? Oh, you should give her a chance. Pam Price, DA. Oh, you should give her a chance. What, to cause more destruction? More damage? It's just, this is common sense.
Right.
And we've already been in the trenches long enough. So for those of you folks that have not been exposed, we've seen the outcomes, we've seen the results, and we've had to then fix it and get the recalls in action and get the results that we have. And look at the super majority of 2-1, more than 2-1 in some cases, that we were able to achieve. That tells you people they're fed up with it. They're sick and tired of it. Enough is enough.